Hello guys, I want to introduce you to an interesting software called Afripaas that acts as a Docker GUI. So let's see what it can do. So in images, it can allow you to list all the images in your Docker server. It allows you also to pull an image, and then it also allows you to build an image from a table. You can build an image from a Docker file. You can build a cache and delete unused images. So let's see what you can do with containers. So you can list all running containers, exited containers, you can list all post containers, etc. So here we can see that this PHP admin container is exited, and then Afripaas container is running. It has been running for the past 15 minutes. So you can inspect a container also just from your browser. So let's see how that works. So you can see that here we are inspecting the container with that ID. It was created on this date. That is the what is running. You can see the container state. So the status there is running. And a bunch of other information about that container. So the same thing that we normally see when we say docker inspect the container name. So we can check the containers platform, the host configuration, a lot of information about the container just by clicking on inspect. So you don't have to use any docker command. So you can check the mounts, the config, the network settings, a lot of information about your container. So let's see what else we can do apart from checking or inspecting the container. So let's go back to all the containers. So we have looked at inspecting. So we can also check individually each container's dashboard, and this refreshes all the time. So you can check the CPU, the memory used in megabytes, and then you can also check the percentage memory used. You can check the bytes received and bytes transmitted. We can stop a container just by clicking on this top button. We can restart a container. We can list the processes inside the container, a running container. So these are the processes that are running in this particular container. So we are running Python inside that container. So what else can we do? We can update a container. So here we have a lot of information that we can update. We can update the CPU shares. We can update the container's memory. So we can limit the amount of memory. And all these are the options. So there are so many things that you can update about your container to fine-tune it the way you want it to work. So a lot of options that you can do, and then it can also generate a script for you to run on the terminal if you want. So all these options you can update about a container. Again, you do this without writing any command. You just type on your browser, click on submit, and automatically it changes. So let's go back to our container and see what else we can do with this software. We can rename a container. So you click on rename, give it a new name, then click on submit, and your container will be renamed. That easy. Okay, we can pause a container. We can check a container's file system. So let's try and do that. So let's see. So when you click on a container's file system, it can either be modified. So 0 means modified. So like this /app, it has been modified since the container was started. Same with the /app account. Then we have 1 means added. So this file system have been added. And we don't have any file system that have been deleted. What else can we do? We can check containers logs. We can check the stats. So these are the stats about the container. So apart from the logs and the stats, we can export a container. We can also kill a container. So that's about all containers. So if you go to running containers, it only lists for you the containers that are running, and it also gives you a command that you can use to filter if you want to do it on the terminal. So I'll just copy this. Of course, if you say docker ps, it will also show you only the running containers. So if I paste that, so that gives me only the running containers. So let me go back to my GUI tool. So I don't have any post containers, I don't have date containers, restarting containers, I don't have removing containers, but I do have exited containers. So if you want it individually, you can just select the type of container that you want. So like this one, have exited, but I can start it. So it has started. And if I go to running containers now, I can be able to view them. So I can stop, I can restart it. And of course, all those options that we had looked at. Let me pause it. So you see, if we pause it, it will pause. And then if we go back to the options, we can restart it. And also we can unpause it. So if I go to post containers, we can view it from there. And of course, it gives me the command that I can use if I want to run it from the command line. So let me unpause this container. So we'll just click there to unpause it, so it will start running. And when I go back to running containers, I'll see my PHP admin. So I think that's enough for containers. I think we have seen what this software can do for you. You can manage end-to-end the life cycle of your containers. So let's go to volumes and see what we can do with this software. We can list all the volumes. So I have a bunch of volumes here. So you can create a volume. Also, just from here, I also can delete any unused volumes. So let's look at networks. What can we do with the networks? So I can list existing networks from here. So you can see we have all these drivers. I can inspect a network, connect a network. I can disconnect a container from a network. I can delete a network just from this screen. So that's it up from networks. I can also inspect a swarm. So this node is not part of a swarm, but I can also initialize a new swarm, join an existing swarm. I can leave a swarm, update a swarm, get the unlock key, and unlock unlocked manager. So very nice options there. You can also list the nodes in your swarm. So this software is not part of a swarm, so it tells me that, but if it was, I will be able to list the nodes. I can also list the services in a swarm and can also create a service. So let's look at tasks. Again, if this was part of a swarm, I would be able to list the tasks. So this software allows you to manage your Docker service end to end. So let me go back to the images and show you how to create a container from an image. So if I wanted to create a MariaDB container from this MariaDB image, I will just click on create image, create container, and then give the container a name. So for example, I will say I want to call it SDB. The parent ID is automatically populated for you. And then the host port, this is port binding. So maybe on the host, I want to run this database on port 3080, but map it to the container port 3060. So you can map as many ports as you want by just clicking on the plus, but we are not going to do that. We just need one port. And then this is very important on volume binding. So you can either bind an existing path or you can bind a volume. So I'm going to bind this /home developer database to the container /var lib mysql. Of course, this is not a volume. So this is a bind mount. So I'll select bind. And then the permission, it can either be read write or read only. So again, I can bind as many as I want. You can give your container host name, you can give it a domain, username, you can attach a standard in, standard out. If you want to expose any ports, you can do as many as you want. If you want to connect, attach streams to your TTY, you can do it from here. So if you want to change your environment variables, you can do it from here. So you just give the variable name is equals to the variable value, and then if there are multiple, you just separate them with the commas. So cmd, these are the commands to run in the container. You can put them if you want. If you want to put a health check for your containers, you can do that. You can escape arguments if you are in Windows. You can put the working directory, the entry point. You can disable network if you want. You can give your container MAC address. You can give the commands to run when you are building. You can give your containers a label. You can pass the stop signal, timeout, the shell. And if you want to fine-tune your network configuration, you can just give the values here. So lots of options when you want to create a container based on an image. You can generate a script and run it on your terminal, but also I'm not going to do that. I just will do submit to create that container from an image. So you can see that it's quite simple and there are so many options that are available. Okay, so let me see how to pull an image. To pull an image is quite simple. You just put the image name that you want to pull from the Docker registry. For example, if I want to pull this Afripaas image, I just type it and then search if it's available in the Docker Hub registry. So we find one image, and then when you want to pull, you just click on pull. So I'll give you an example of how to do that practically with an Alpine image because it's quite small. So click on search. So I want the one with the most stars, so I'll just order it by stars and click on pull. So it will pull that image from your Docker Hub registry. Okay, so it has pulled the image. So once we pull the image, we can create a container based on that image. So if we go to all images, we search for that image, which was Alpine latest. And then we can create an image based on it, so a container based on it. So give the container a name. So I'll call mine Alpine -test. I don't want to port bind, volume bind. I don't want to volume bind. We have shown you how to do that. So I just want to attach streams to TTY. Then I click on submit. And that's it. You've created an image, a container based on an image. So you can see the status is created, and then below there you can see it gives it a unique ID. So this information is from your Docker server, and there's no warnings. So that's how easy it is to create an image based on to create a container based on an image. Sorry. Okay, so we can start this container that we've just created. So we'll click on start. So the container will start, and also it gives you the command down there that you can use to start it on the command line. So let's see the processes that are running here. So you just click on the process. So these are the processes that are running in this container. So if I was to copy this container name and go to the terminal, I can also do the same, docker exec with that container name. So maybe I want to check the file system in this container from the terminal. I can do that just to confirm that our container is running. I can also check the container's host name.